Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. If you're new here, my name is Chandler, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys my physical TBR. My physical TBR is basically the books that I own that I have not yet read, and there's quite a few of them. I'm going to very quickly talk to you guys about each book, and then I'll give you my excuse for why I haven't read it yet. And at the end, I will reveal the number of how many books I own that I haven't yet read. I made a video like this, I think maybe about a year ago. I don't know how long ago it was. Back then, I had 50 something unread books, so hopefully the number is lower than that now. I don't know, I haven't counted in a while. So let's just get into this. I'm also going to include books I DNF'd, which means like I didn't finish them. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this pile over here first, and we're just gonna go through each book. So the one on the top here is Confess by Colleen Hoover. And I don't have a great excuse for why I haven't read this book yet. I used to be obsessed with Colleen Hoover and I read like almost all of her books, but then I just kind of started not enjoying her books as much anymore, and I kind of found authors that I like way better than her. So that's just why I haven't yet gotten to this book, but I would like to in the future. Then we have Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. And here's my reason for not reading it. This book is so long in the pages, and it's like a big book too, like compared to a normal book. Scared that it's gonna move slow and I'm not gonna like it, and that it's gonna like read like a classic, because like look at that cover, it just looks like classic-y. But I actually have the audiobook of this on hold at my library, so hopefully I can get through it that way. Then we have a book I DNF'd, and that is Looking for Alaska by John Green. I got 90 pages into this book and then I never finished it. I would like to finish it sometime in the future. It's not like I'm never gonna finish it, but at the time when I was reading it I just really wasn't vibing with it. But I don't necessarily think it's a bad book. I've Got Your Number by Sophie Kinsella. This book I really just haven't read because I have books on my TBR that I want to read more than this one, so this one's like not like a top priority at the moment, but I would like to get to it eventually. Then we have Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings, which is a part of the Magnolia Parks universe. And the reason I haven't read this is because I read Magnolia Parks last November, but I don't think I'm going to remember everything that happened in the first book. So I want to go back and read the first book before I read this one, so then I can like know what's happening. Then we have Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie, and I really want to read it, but it's a huge series. Like I think it's like 10 books or something like that, and I don't want to get into that right now, so that's just why I haven't read it. Then we have The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, and this one I'm actually currently in the middle of reading. I'm reading it on my Kindle, but I am reading it and I'm really liking it so far. I'm like halfway through, so this one's like half read, but I'm still gonna count it as not read. Then we have The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I think this book has something to do with a ghost, so I was waiting to read this until like October spooky time, so I'm probably just gonna wait until that. Then we have a book that so many of you guys have been begging me to read. Anytime I show this book in a video, you guys comment about how good it is and how I should read it, and that's Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. And I don't know why I haven't read it yet. It's been sitting on my shelf. I really want to read it. I just think there's been books that are more of a priority to me, but I really do want to get to it. I swear I will. I'm not looking forward to putting all these books back on my shelf. But it's okay. We have The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I just haven't heard a ton about this book, so I don't know a lot about it. I don't remember where I got it. I think I got it from Little Free Library, so it was like free. So that's why I picked it up, just because I have heard about it, but I don't know a ton about it. Then we have a book I know you guys are going to want me to read, and that's Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. And I really want to read it, I do, but it's such a long series, and it's like if I read the first one, then I'm going to have to buy all the other books because I already own the first one. And that's just going to cost a lot of money, and I don't want to do that right now because I'm going to start a big series very soon that I'll show you guys later. I don't want to be reading multiple big series at one time because that's just going to break my bank account. Then I don't know where the first one is, but I do have the first one. But right here with me I have the second two books in the Harry Potter series, and I read these when I was younger, but I want to go back and reread them, so I picked these up from Goodwill. I have the first one. I think it's like in my sister's room somewhere, but I do have these books that I want to read. Then we have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and I got a little bit into this book. I got 53 pages into this book. I think I've gotten farther than that. Like I read it and then I put it down, and then I tried to pick it up and read it from the beginning again, and I just can't get into it. But I'm probably going to read it on my Kindle here soon because I have read other books by Leigh Bardugo now and I just love her writing. So I really want to get into the series and like it, but currently it's DNF'd. Then this is the big series I'm talking about, and that is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. I read the ACOTAR series last fallish, and I really want to read the Throne of Glass series, so I have the first two books here, and this is why I don't want to pick up another big series right now, because I'm going to have to buy all the books for this series, and that's going to cost a lot of money. But we have The Assassin's Blade here, which is a prequel book full of novellas about the story, and then we have Throne of Glass, which is the first book in the series, and I am just basically waiting until it gets a little cooler outside because it's currently like 100 degrees, and I feel like this would be such a good like fall, winter type of read. Then I have Crescent City by Sarah J Maas, and the reason I haven't read this one is because I want to read the Throne of Glass series before I read this. So, and look how big it is. That is just so intimidating. That is so many pages. But now we are through the first stack, and we have the second stack here with me. First up, we have a poetry book called The Way Back Home by Courtney Peppernell, and I'm currently in the middle of reading this. I don't know how far I am. I think I'm like 70 pages or something like that, but I'm not like reading it all at once. It's just kind of a book I pick up and put down every once in a while. Then we have another book I'm in the middle of, and that is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I'm literally like 7 pages in it. I'm not like super far. I read the book before this called Six of Crows, gave it 5 stars, absolutely loved it, so I'm really excited to read this one. Then we have The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. The next few are thrillers, and I'm waiting until it's fall time to read some more thrillers. While you can read thrillers any time of year, and I do, to me, fall in like October is just such thriller season, and it's so fun to read scary books during fall. So that's basically why I'm waiting to read this one. Then we have Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney, and I love this author. I love Alice Feeney and her books. I've read His and Hers, I've read Rock, Paper, Scissors. I like her books, and this one I'm kind of just waiting until fall time again. Then I have Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, and the reason I haven't read this book yet is because I didn't know it was a series when I bought it, and I don't know if I want to buy a thriller series, because it's like, normally when I buy books it's because it's a book I think I could love and reread, but like a thriller I feel like I wouldn't reread it. Or I also will buy it if it's like a favorite, but I don't know if this is gonna be a favorite, and I'm just like kind of scared to get into this series because it just feels like a lot, so that's why I haven't read it yet. Then we have The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This has been on my monthly TBR multiple times, but I just haven't gotten to it because classics intimidate me so much. I'm definitely not a classic girly. I would love to be one day, but I'm not. Then we have another DNF, and that's Emma by Jane Austen. And I read a good chunk of this book. I am on page 145, so I read a lot of it. I read it about a year ago, and to me, I did like Jane Austen's writing, but it's just so confusing for me to understand, and it takes me like an hour to get through like 25 pages because I just have to read it so slowly. So I might pick this up in the future again. That's why I still own it, and it's so pretty, and I just want to read it, but I'm not ready for that right now. Then we have 101 Essays to Change the Way You Think by Brianna West. I also started this book. I'm on page 29, and this book is so long. It's just a book full of essays, and I just like to read them every once in a while, so that's why it's not read yet. Then we have The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I read this in 6th grade, and it was my favorite book. Whenever people would ask me in like middle school what my favorite book was, it would be this book, and I just really want to reread it. And I saw it at Goodwill a little bit ago, and I really want to reread it and just experience it again because it's just such a heartbreaking story. It's so good. I like remember a lot about it, but I just want to reread it and like annotate it, because I love this book. I'm counting it as not read because I haven't read it since 6th grade. I don't know what I'm necessarily waiting for to read it. It's kind of just not like a super big priority right now. Then we have The Kite Runner by Khalid something. I can't read the last name because of the sticker. This book is also a classic, and that's basically why I haven't read it yet. Then we have To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Can you guess why I haven't read it? It's a classic. Then we have On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. And I don't know why I haven't read this yet. I just haven't had the urge to pick it up necessarily, but I would love to read this one day. It looks sad. It's really short. I know it's literary fiction, and it's really short, so I think this would be a great book, and I think I'm gonna love it. But I just haven't had like a super big urge to read it yet. Then I have Teenager by Bud Smith, and I really want to read this book, but I have heard nothing about it. The reason I got it is because I won it in a Goodreads giveaway, because I entered the giveaway because I was like, oh, that book looks interesting, so I entered it, and then I won. But it's like I haven't heard anything about it, so I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not. But then we have The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and the reason I haven't read this is because, as you guys saw earlier, I DNF'd Looking for Alaska, so I'm just kind of scared I don't like his writing and I wouldn't like this. We're almost done. We have 3 more books. The next one is My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Bachman, and I read A Man Called Uva by him, and I loved that book. And I'm just kind of scared to read this book because I'm scared it's going to make me cry, and I'm scared it's going to be sad, and I don't want to do that to myself right now, but I'll read it in the future. Then we have Marla Banks Redesigned, and this is the first ARC I ever got. I won this in a Goodreads giveaway as well. I've owned this book for so long. Like, it's probably been over 2 years now, which is kind of bad, but I do want to read this book. I don't know why I haven't, to be honest. It's just not super intriguing to me anymore. And then the final book is This Is Where It Ends by Marieke Nijkamp. I'm just kind of scared to read it, so that's why I haven't read it yet. But these and these are all of the books that I own but haven't read yet, and I'm gonna count them real quick and then I'll tell you guys the final number. My final number of books that I own but haven't yet read is 35. I don't think that's terrible. I ideally would like to have about 15 books that I own that I haven't read, so it's like I still have choices to choose from when I want to read a new book, but it's not overwhelming, and this kind of is a little overwhelming to me. I know there's people who own way more books they haven't read. I just feel kind of guilty owning all these books sitting on my shelves, and like some of these could be 5-star reads. A lot of them probably are, but I just don't know it yet, and I just am so excited to read them, and I don't think I'm gonna stop loving reading anytime soon, so I will definitely get to these eventually. Let me know down below in the comments if there's any of these that are your favorites and you love and you want me to read, or if there's any you didn't like and you think I shouldn't read, just anything about these books. But thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!